I'm intrigued. You've caught me, sir, with your title and your thumbnail here. Cube. Only 173 subscribers. Well, hold on a second now. There's a bit of a disclaimer in the description. Let's read it. I'm not trying to call anyone out here. Please do not be offended. Well, I'll wait and see. This video aims to point out some good stuff and bad trends within the community and how to fix the bad ones and how to encourage the good ones. I will mention some issues within the community and miscommunications when introducing the Rubik's Cube to someone new. Again, please do not be offended by anything I say, my footage, or the thumbnail. Also, I had lots of issues with re-rendering, so bear with my messed up edits throughout the video. Please don't copyright strike me. I need to feed myself. Oh, he has a blog as well. Okay. Right, let's have a look at the problem. Let's find out with what the problem is with the cubing community by Cube here from August the 5th. Part 1. All right. If you're going to have parts, sir, can I give you a tip? If you're going to have parts, put them in the description.
There's a huge problem in the cubing community, and it's mostly coming from people like us,
What?
speedcubers.
People like me?
This problem is halting speedcubing's growth. Let me explain.
Okay.
This video is hugely inspired by Adam Venter's blog, which you can check out in the description below.
Oh, it's not his blog. It's someone else's blog. Adam Venter? Back in 2019. Interesting. You can do the cube. I've got that one. I've got that book. John, juice in the memberships. Congratulations, Ricky Ricardo from Oklahoma. Oh, nice to see you, John. Good to hang out. Catch you soon. I want to play games soon. I want to find out what you and Martin are playing so that we can play something online. I want to go pew pew pew. I've heard that Master Chief Collection is coming to PS5. If that happens, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to disappear for a month. What was I watching? Oh, yeah. Okay, so here we go. So there's a blog that this is based on by that guy, he said, Adam Vetzer, who, again, I've never heard of. Navigating the world of speedcubing and its integration into mainstream culture. Can I increase the volume of the vid? Yeah, it's quite quiet, isn't he? Yes, I can, is the short answer.
He has some wonderful insights that can impact the impact of cubing. And before we start, make sure to subscribe that click button if you haven't already.
That's a nice little hook.
Make my day.
That's a nice little hook. He's used that in both videos. Subscribe the click button, everyone. That's pretty funny.
Will have the elitist participants that ruin it. Instead of promoting participation and improvement, they focus on competition. For example, when we see another cuber go viral on
that's
YouTube
an editing
that,
error.
let's say, averages 20 seconds, many people will go straight to the comment section and say, "Oh, but I'm faster than you," or something like that. I love how Mr. Vetzer puts it. The unfortunate truth is that young cubers seeking recognition and acceptance for their skills come off as elitist, turning off the general public from the hobby.
Okay, yeah. I can see that. Also, just don't be a jerk. Just like let people have their moment, you know what I mean? If someone hits their first sub 25 average, just be like, hype, yeah, let's go. I'll say that people being negative about that are in the minority in my own perception.
I think this is so true, considering the competitive environment in speedcubing, always striving to be the best. But we must remember that the cubing community isn't about just speedcubers.
True.
It's about all the puzzle enthusiasts and the cubers who just solve the cube for fun.
True, or just want to watch solving cubes. Just want to watch cubes getting solved. You know?
Part of our job as cubers is to draw the public in, instead of putting our knowledge as, "Oh, I looked up a tutorial on YouTube," or "I use an algorithm." This may come off as too complicated or confusing to non-cubers, especially with the stereotype that you have to be smart to solve a Rubik's Cube.
I always tell people it's just an illusion of intelligence. It's a personality buff. It's the illusion of intelligence. Really, I can follow simple instructions. Really, when we break it down, you know, we can follow simple instructions and we can repeat things over and over again. We can retain knowledge. Well, Because this brings us to a big debate, doesn't it, about what is intelligence? Is intelligence the ability to retain knowledge, or is intelligence the ability to, I don't know, something else? I'm not very intelligent, so I'm having trouble with this definition of intelligence. Retaining knowledge is one thing, but it's not necessarily intelligence. It's the ability to use that knowledge effectively and responsibly. Does that make sense? Maybe I should look up a definition here, actually. Definition of intelligence. The ability to acquire and apply. The ability to inquire and apply. Efemico, there's nothing speedy about my solves. I just like cubes. Well, that's kind of my vibe as well. I'm not a speed cuber. That's why I make the content that I make, because I cannot make content that is watchable because I solve fast. Like, I'm not a fast solver. I can't do it. And I won't do it, damn it. Because I can't. So, yeah. I can't remember why we got distracted there, but we did. Again, not that intelligence. An idea that I've had for the stream, which would definitely be good, but I will never do because I don't think I can handle it, would be doing an IQ test. I've never done one, and I'm scared of what the result might be.
One solution when communicating our interests to someone new is not to dumb down some of the cubing language we speak, but to be open to explanation and answering questions. Buzzwords like algorithms or permutations can turn off many people, but as long as you explain it, then most people should understand it.
Yeah, right. So this is about how we just approach talking about it. If you go too fast sometimes, like it happened last night when someone was trying to explain this game to someone, and it was the end of the night and they were quite tired. They weren't really open to receiving information. And the person could have just explained at a very high level what the game was and maybe what the win condition is, right? Like, win condition is always a really good place to start when explaining a game to someone, I think. It's just like, you need to get 12 victory points to win. Oh, sick. Sure. How do I get those victory points? Well, there's a number of ways. Start with a simple one, and like get more in depth if they're showing interest. The same with cubing as well, you know what I mean? So it's like, if anyone's like brand new and they're asking, well, how do you do that? There's an algorithm, isn't there? They'll always, do you find that? People will just be like, oh, there's an algorithm though, isn't there? You learn an algorithm and then you can solve the cube. I'm like, well, not really. There's hundreds of different algorithms depending on what you're looking at. And then I'll be like, so we use this method called CFOT, which is 4 stages. So we solve a cross, then we do pairs, then there's 2 more stages where we do the last layer. And it's like, that's the end of that statement. And then if they want to know more, they'll ask more. But if they don't want to know more, then they won't, you know, and that's fine. They'll go away and maybe they'll come back later. And it's like, I'm not going to open with, well, actually, I use, in my PLL stage, in my permutation of the last layer stage, I use 21 different algorithms, which are case dependent, situation dependent. You know what I mean? One of those is easier to access for a non-cuber than others. And I think that's the point that Cube is making here. How do I pronounce O with a straight line over it? Cube. How do you pronounce an O with a line over it? I know how it works in Te Reo Maori. Yeah, long O sound. Oh, it's the same. It's just like a macron in Te Reo Maori. Cube. Cube. Like a foghorn.
A great example is Cameron from Speedcube Shop.
Never heard of him. Who?
This news interview, he did a really great job of summarizing the hobby for non-cubers. And if you notice, he did say buzzwords like algorithms or look ahead, but he made sure to explain everything and placed great emphasis on the importance of practice over intelligence or knowledge.
Interesting, Shattercam. Part 2.
I touched on this before, but I want to talk about the toxic elitist.
The toxic elitist. Are you a toxic elitist? I'm not an elitist, but I am toxic.
The irony in that statement is that most of these cubers yearning for recognition are younger, like me. Well, I have to
And me.
accept that. Younger people do tend to enjoy recognition, but I'm not saying that recognition is bad. Recognition is the entire reason people are exposed to cubing. It's the kind of
This is
recognition
interesting.
that could be potentially harmful.
Okay. So now we're getting into the youngins. Now we're getting into the whippersnappers, the alphas who have grown up always knowing social media and always knowing what likes are and always knowing what subs are. Toxic elitist Mike for MSL, yeah. Toxic Mike would have been good, actually. Maybe he's a season 2. I'll get rid of FTO Mike and put in Toxic Mike. So yeah, no, this is interesting. We're all content brained, and it's not just young people. Like people my age, some people my age are not as I'm definitely more content brained than a lot of my contemporaries are, who are just not in the business of it. You know, it's kind of what I've become interested in and made a career out of. I get probably harken back to performing as a kid, being on stage as a kid, and then being a musician as a young adult and an adult. I'm definitely more content and recognition brained than a lot of other people my age are. But I think for a younger generation, like my kids both talk about being YouTubers. They both are just like, oh, we need to subscribe to this channel because they told me to subscribe. So they know all this. They know what all these fundamental content things are that I just didn't know about when I was their age. So yeah, you approach hobbies differently. Like when I was Cube's age, I was just I was skateboarding and not filming it because I would have had to use my dad's literal video camera, which I was not allowed out the house, which is fair actually on him. That's totally fair. So I was doing that, and I was painting Warhammer models and like not posting them on Instagram because that wasn't a thing. Like you couldn't broadcast any of that stuff. It was very rare that anyone would ever see my Warhammer stuff because I was just doing it. It was different back then, but yeah, he's making a valid point.
They want to be recognized
as
the best, or at least faster than someone else.
Yeah, it's that instant access to flexing is the difference, I think, between growing up in the 90s and growing up now.
This not only causes tension within the cubing community, but it could also turn off some potential seekers in this new hobby.
And it also encourages cheating as well. It also encourages people to do fake stuff. And people in this community do not like that, as we are seeing currently with one. I can't remember what his name is. Some kid that's been certainly being. I'm not going to comment on it, but he's certainly being accused of doing fake solves. He's never done a competition. Chang, camcorder was the size of a shoebox when I was his age. Yeah, same. No, my one didn't have VHS tapes that went in it. Thank you, Efemica. I was slightly more advanced than that. It was it wouldn't have been digital 8, but it was mini 8. It was 8mm tape anyway. And digital 8 is the one that I had when I was in uni.
It makes cubing seem hard to start because it makes cubing seem toxic and unfriendly. Let's face it.
Doesn't make it seem very accessible, does it?
The average age of the entire speedcubing and cubing community is under 18. So that
the average age of Rubik's Cube enthusiasts generally falls between the ages of 10 and 20. With a noticeable peak in the 18 to 20 age range. Yeah, okay, interesting. That could be quite old now. I don't think that takes into account China necessarily anymore.
means much of the influence that non-cubers are facing are from less experienced communicators. And as a result, the topic of speedcubing can seem difficult or complex. A solution is to reflect back to how we all started cubing. We probably saw someone else do it, and we were fascinated by how impressive their skills were. Also, our current level also comes with tons and tons of experience and practice, not just pure intelligence. We need to remember.
Amy, is cheating really a huge deal though? I'm not super on the YouTube side of cubing. I stay more on the hardware WCA side, and people faking stuff is never a topic of conversation in my experience. No, I think you're probably right. It's more of a YouTube or it's more of a content specific thing. The cheating. But then the content space is where a lot of people are being exposed to cubing. I would probably argue.
All slow at one point. We all came
at one point
from somewhere, and this somewhere needs to be emphasized more because it's when you're slower than most people when you can actually learn a lot from others.
True. I learned some F2L from you today, Cube.
In fact, I'd argue that that's one of the reasons many people quit cubing after a short time. Because they're trying to improve and learn by themselves without anyone to help them or guide them. That's partly because cubing isn't that widespread yet. And the reason for that is because of poor communication. It's kind of like a chicken.
Now I will 100% agree with that. We don't do a good job of promoting ourselves outside of cubing, which is what I've tried to work on with sponsorships, which is why G Fuel, shout out. Use code Mike32314 at gfuel.com. Really stoked that they came on board with both me and PSL as well. By the way, if anyone else is a content creator, I do have a link. I do have like a referral link that you can use if you want to apply for a G Fuel sponsorship as well. Because I think they're interested in getting into the cubing space.
In an egg situation where one thing happens and everything just reproduces, multiplies. That's the right word, together. That was a lot to digest. So if you feel lost, you can comment your questions. If you enjoyed this video, please help me beat the YouTube algorithm by...
Don't beat the poor algorithm. Poor old algorithm, eh? Okay, interesting. I'm not sure what the biggest takeaways were from the problem with the cubing community, apart from just like, be nice to each other. Eh? Would ya? Let's see some of the comments. People be yapping. Yeah, communication is a big essential that helps others understand. Zebra cubes. Am I subscribed to Zebra cubes? 1.5K. I suppose I should subscribe, eh? 1.5K. Should probably subscribe. They got a shorts game. Probably. Boing. Get out of there. Okay, I was looking at the comments. Clickbait thumbnail. See, coming in instantly with the negs. Clickbait. But then good points. The competitive aspect is also amazing and keeps the hobby viable. I dislike the fact that the thumbnail is pure clickbait, but the video saves it because it's actually decent. Yeah, well, you've never watched the video if it wasn't a decent thumbnail that made you click. You egg! That is how the platform works. It's boring hearing this stuff over and over again. What was the thumbnail again? It's not. I don't think it's clickbait. I back that. He's saying, hey, are elitists potentially toxic? I think that's a totally valid thumbnail. It's not promising something that isn't in the video. I think it's fine. It's fine. Don't listen to them, Cube. Oh, and there's a JPerm video. Those ones juice pretty hard as well. I should just make JPerm videos. Then I'll be cooking. Hold on, is that video even about JPerm though? That could be clickbait. Anyway, on your cube, love to see it. Love to see it. Chan, communication is sort of an issue for any community. Yeah, true. Like learning to speak to people who don't know what you're talking about is a huge, well, it's just a huge marketing problem. It's like what I do at work at the moment for my other job as well. You know, it's just like, hey, nobody can buy your thing if people don't know what your thing is. Like, why should they? You haven't answered the question, why should they? That's a valid question to ask about any community or product or service. Why should anyone listen to you? Why should anyone buy your thing? And if you don't have a good answer to that question, then you're not communicating properly, or you're unable to communicate properly. In my humble opinion.